Hi friends, it's Kristine Vicente with Queen City Stamp Art, and today I'm back with another free class Saturday. So we're going to be making some fun projects, especially if you love to read or you have friends who like to read, or if you like to give books as gifts. This is going to be a great little project class for you. Of course, this kit for these projects is free, with a $35 order or more placed on my website with the host code. And I'm going to be sharing that information. It's also in the description of the video. But there's also a free project sheet over at queencitystampart.com. You can pick that up and get the cutting guide so that you can cut the pieces yourself. And then this video is actually the tutorial to show you how to put them together. So let's go ahead and get crafting. Okay, so the stamp set that I'm going to be using today for these projects is called For the Books. It's a brand new stamp set from the Stampin' Up! January to April mini catalog. It's really fun as someone who loves to read and has been wanting to start a reading journal. I use this to create the projects for today, and I think you're going to really enjoy them. And if you aren't a big reader yourself, but you know people who read and you like to give books as gifts, this is also going to be a set of projects that you're going to love. So I'm going to give you a closer look at the stamp set and then also the dies. The dies for this set, we're not actually going to be using them for the projects. There are no dies that coordinate with any of the shapes in this set. They're basically just kind of standalone / detail dies, and I cut them out just to give you an idea of what they do. So this is obviously like a book, and then this little piece here will cut out the pages. So you can do these in, like, I did them in white, but you could do them in like a cream color or even gold, like for gilded pages in a book. And then this is like a little bookmark that you can die cut. I'm not really sure what this is. It's a circle. It cuts a circle. And I'm thinking it might be great for creating a tag out of the book or something like that. Maybe, yeah, I don't really know what that's for, but it is a tiny little circle. And then this little piece here that looks like a comb is actually a tassel. So you cut it out and it cuts these little grooves into the paper, and then you can wrap it up, like just kind of spool it up, and it makes this little tassel, like a little bookmark for the book. So it could be that the circle is meant to cut, I don't know, to make a little bookmark out of that. But anyway, that's what this creates. So if you're interested in these dies, this set is sold as a bundle, and it's very reasonable in terms of bundle pricing, just because there's just a few of the dies that are in the die set. We're not going to be using these today. We're just going to be using the stamp set. And this is just such a fun one to have in your stash if you don't have any stamp sets that, you know, have a book theme to them. You can use them for card making, of course. We're going to do a couple of other projects. And one of the projects we're going to do, actually two of the projects include a panel cut from the Greetings of the Seasons die set. This was released in the holiday catalog. Absolutely fantastic set of dies. They're all tags, so they have a little hole in each of them, which is very useful on its own. Because the sizes are so varied, you can layer them up with pattern paper and do layered tags, which is fun. And then some smaller ones that you could use for like a sentiment on the tag, like happy birthday or thinking of you or thank you, whatever. Kind of fun, I think. And then makes them very, very useful. They're also wonderful as panels on the front of cards and other projects. And I'm going to show you that today because we're going to be using those dies for that. We're also going to be using a freebie from the Sale-a-Bration catalog. So I had mentioned in my intro that if you shop with me to get the free kits to make these projects, and you use this host code that's listed here and also in the video description, when you check out, you'll be prompted to enter a host code. And if you put this number in, I'll see it on my end, and I'll know that you want the kits for this, and I will send them to you. So a $35 order or more on my website using this code will get you the kits. And then Sale-a-Bration is also happening right now. This is a gift with purchase sale from Stampin' Up. There's more information available on my website, queencitystampart.com. And that's where you'll also get the free project sheet. So if you want to make these projects on your own and are not interested in the kits, you can go ahead to queencitystampart.com and pick up the project sheet for these. This sale runs through the end of February, and it's a gift with purchase. So when you spend $60 or more before tax and shipping, you get to pick a free item from this catalog, which is fantastic. So we're going to be using the 6x6 Toadstool Gardens Designer Series paper pack in the projects today. This is one of the free items. It also coordinates with a stamp set and punch bundle that you can find in the new January to April mini catalog. So it's a fun pack of paper. We're not going to be doing a toadstool theme really today, but you could if you like that. We're going to be using the back side, the neutral sides of the paper that have nothing to do with toadstools. So it's going to be really fun, and I'm going to give you a closer look at that too. So let's go ahead and get going. So we'll take a quick look at these papers. They really are very, very pretty. There's some, if you like that toadstool theme, which I actually do like the theme of it, then these papers are super cute. They've got some great neutral sides, and the colors are extremely cheerful. I love the stripes. That's probably one of my favorite pieces on the neutrals. And then this is just some like patterned toadstools in a variegated color scheme. But then on the back, it's a nice little like gray wood tone, which I like. I love this piece. It has some little snails, which is perfect for snail mail. And then the back side is this fun little crosshatch. And then this little toadstool piece has some mushrooms on the front. And the back is a really pretty stripe in Fresh Freesia. So the color palette is beautiful. Fresh Freesia, Melon Mambo, Granny Apple Green, Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, and Early Espresso for the brown neutral. So very fun papers. I've already pulled the sheets that we're going to be using for the projects today. So I'm just going to tuck this back into my little pocket here. And we'll get going. So the first project we're going to make is a cute little card that actually is a gift card holder. It has a little pocket on the inside using some of that Designer Series paper. So this one says, "You're a solid 5 stars," which I absolutely love. I think this is a super great sentiment for both birthday and thank you especially. And I can see myself giving this as a birthday gift with like a Barnes & Noble gift card and then stamping a happy birthday here, or giving it as a thank you gift for somebody who's helped me with something. I think this is really cute for a thank you as well. This would also be great if you give books as gifts. You could give a book with this card, and then you could also tuck in a little coffee gift card so they have something nice and cozy to drink with their book. So just a couple of ideas. So let's go ahead and make this project. We're going to start with a standard size card base. I'm using basic white thick for my card base. And I like to use my bone folder to get a nice crisp fold because this thick cardstock is pretty thick. So here's my little base card. And then we're going to cut this piece together. Although I've given you the measurements, I'm going to cut a couple of pieces. We're going to cut the little inside piece for the gift card pocket. This paper measures 6 by 6, so we're just going to cut it at the 5 1/4 inch mark. So I'm going to use the stripe side, 5 1/4. Well, I'm going to turn it this way actually, 5 1/4. So I have this little piece left over, and I'll save this as a scrap. And then we're going to turn this, and we're going to score it at the 4 inch mark. So I'm going to use my scoring blade and just give that a score at the 4 inch mark. And now I can fold this like that. And we'll set this aside, and then I'm going to cut the piece that I need for the front of my card down to 4 by 5 1/4, just as a layer panel for the front. And this is a nice soft pattern that'll be great for the front of my card. Okay, let's go ahead and layer this up. Take my tape runner here, just add a little bit to the corners and a little bit in the middle. And we're going to layer this piece right onto the front of the card. And then I'm going to take my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to punch a little finger notch in this part of the panel here. So just maybe 1/3 of the way, just to provide a little finger notch there. Then we're going to take, and this is going to be the little pocket. So I'm going to flip this over and put some adhesive on the back. And I'm going to add this to the inside of my card. Just like this, as a layer. And then I'm going to pull out my liquid adhesive. And I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive to close up this little pocket. And I like to use liquid because I feel like it gives me a good, that one's almost empty. It gives me a good seal, so I don't have to worry about it opening up like in humidity or anything. So I'm just going to put a tiny bead there on the edge and close up the pocket. And now I have a place to put my gift card holder. I mean my little gift card when I slip it in there. Just like that. So now I've got the pocket, and then we could stamp a sentiment on the inside. If you have a happy birthday or a thank you that you want to use, you can go right ahead and do that. This set does not come with a like an inside sentiment, unless I wanted to do like a little for you. But I do want to stamp this You're a Solid 5 stars and some books on the front. So let's go ahead and get into the stamping. And then we'll bring our card back in. Now I'm gonna also show you a fun coloring technique for this. So let's pull in all the panels that have to be stamped for the projects today, because that will help us to move these projects along. And I like to get my stamping done all at once anyway. So we're going to use the sentiment that says, this one's for the books. We're also going to use the sentiment that says, You're a Solid 5 stars. And then we're going to use this little book stack. So I'm going to want to stamp these items on the tags, but I'm also going to need a little scrap piece here. So let's go ahead and get a nice D-size block, and we'll set up the sentiments. So I'm just going to lay this on my grid, and then I'm going to center this part. Just like that. And then I'll pick them up with my block. And I can use my grid to kind of center things. That makes it really easy and nice. We're going to use a Memento black ink pad to stamp this out. And I'm going to stamp that on one of these tags right in the middle here. Just like that. And then I'm going to clean this off. And then I'm going to take and remove that sentiment, and I'm going to add this one. So I'm just going to line this up on my grid and put it in between here so it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to ink this one up. And I'm going to stamp it right here on this tag. Then I'm going to take the sentiment off. That little chamois is a little bit dry, so I think I'm just going to pull out a baby wipe here. Clean this up. And now I'm going to stamp the book stack twice more. I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it here. I'm going to ink it up and stamp it here, just like that, because I'm going to fussy cut those out and layer them over top of what I already stamped. And then we can put the stamps away for now, and I'm going to have to pull them out one more time. I'm going to need this one, the little one with the 5 stars for the next project, or the last project. So I'm just going to mount that there, and we will go ahead and get into the coloring. So to color these, I'm going to use one of my favorite coloring techniques. I have pulled 3 stamp pads that coordinate with the paper colors. Pumpkin Pie, Melon Mambo, and Lemon Lime Twist. Now, Granny Apple Green is the color that's listed in the paper, but Lemon Lime Twist is just really a lighter version of that, so I'm going to use that. And I have one of our aqua painters, our little water painter brushes, and it's dry and there's nothing inside the barrel of the brush. It's just a dry brush. I'm going to be using some 99% isopropyl alcohol. I know many of you, if you're following me, know I love this technique. I'm just going to pour some in a little dish here. And I'm going to add my brush to that to absorb into the little bristles. To color these, I'm not going to be coloring on these two. I'm just going to color these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by squeezing my ink pad and transferring some of that color onto the lid of the ink pad. Then I'm going to, again, load my brush with some of this alcohol. And the alcohol, in case you have never seen this technique, the alcohol is highly evaporates very quickly. And so when you color with it, you don't get the pilling on your paper that you would if you used water, because the moisture evaporates immediately, which is wonderful. That's why it's one of my favorite coloring techniques. Now you may say, well, Kristine, I know you have Stampin' Blends alcohol markers. Why aren't you using those? I love the Blends markers, but sometimes I like a little bit lighter look. I don't want the heavy, deep color. And it's a very saturated marker. And this way I get to see and keep the detail on the books the way they are. It doesn't cover up the detail. So this is the, I'm doing an orange book for this one. And the water painter works great, empty and just dipped in the alcohol. Now I'm going to change colors. I'm going to move on to the green. I'm going to close that up and go on to my lemon lime book. So I'm going to swish this around and make sure I got all that orange ink off. I usually bring a paper towel to dab it too, but I didn't this time. I'll just use this little wipe that I've been using. And now I'm going to dip it and pick up some of the green. And that's going to be this book down here. And using the Memento Black ink pad is great because it works great with our alcohol markers so that it doesn't bleed. This black ink doesn't bleed with alcohol, which is great. So I get a nice crisp look. And I'm just going to add a little bit more alcohol. This does not move like watercolor. It definitely lays the color wherever you put it. It does not really swish around. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. But I think it's a fun coloring technique, and I really enjoy kind of the artsy look it gives my projects. So there's that one, and now we're going to switch to the Melon Mambo. So I just give it a squeeze, transfer that color onto the lid, and some of the cases are a little more flexible than others, and you get a better, squish of ink. But this one's pretty good too. It doesn't look quite as good as the others, but it is. There's plenty of ink on here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and paint up the rest of the books. I'm leaving the pages white, and I'm going to hit those with some Wink of Stella. So I'm really trying just to get the book covers on these two. There we go. And then once you've painted them once, you can certainly go back in and add a little shading or a little bit more. They do work like alcohol markers do in that way, is that you can layer the color and add shadows and whatnot. There, I really like how that looks. Now I'm just going to swish my brush off, make sure it's nice and clean, and dab it, and then just let that air dry, and we're all set with these ink pads. So that stuff can be set aside. Now to finish these books, I'm just going to use my ink, my Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen, and I'm going to add a little bit of shimmer to the pages. And the clear glitter brush pen is kind of like a little water brush. It will kind of move the the ink on the pages. So the pages have some little black lines that I've stamped. And when I use Wink of Stella, it actually kind of turns the pages a little bit gray. So it makes it look a little bit more finished. It doesn't look quite so stark. And then the shimmer is really cool because like when you see it in the light, when you turn it around in the light and move it, you can see a little bit of a shine to the pages. So it just sort of finishes off the look in kind of a subtle way, but it's nice. I really like it. I think it looks good. So these are all dry because we've used alcohol and there's no pilling. It really is a wonderful way to color, especially if you've got a small space and you don't want to saturate that color. So now I'm going to take some snips and I'm just going to fussy cut these out very quickly. This is being mounted on a white tag, and so it's going to be very forgiving. So you don't have to worry about being too fussy with this. I like to leave a little bit of a border around the edges. And then just kind of cut these little, just right around the books. Just like that. And then this one. And you don't have to stamp the books on the tag if you don't want to. I like to do it for spacing reasons. It helps me to see kind of where I'm going to put it in relation to the sentiment. But if you want to leave that blank, you absolutely can, because this is just going to go over top and cover all that up anyway. So there we go. Okay, so now we're going to use a little bit of that dimensional adhesive that we love so much, the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and we're going to add that to the back of these little book stacks. So I'm going to add this first one here. And then this one will get added to the back as well. And I'm just going to kind of layer that up. And then I'm actually going to color in the stars with the orange, just to add a little bit more of that orange color. I forgot about that. So I'm just going to dip my brush and just just paint in the stars a little bit with some orange. Very, very easy to color this way. Very forgiving. There we go. Alrighty. So now this part of the work is done. And so now we can finish putting the card together. So I'm going to set this one aside for another project that you'll see coming up. And this one is going to go onto our card front. So I have another little scrap that I'm going to use, and this is a little piece of the striped paper. And I'm just going to add a little stripe of this to the card front. So I'm going to put this about 1/2 inch off the edge. Just like that. And then we're going to add some dimensionals to this piece for the front of the card. I'll probably just put 5 on just to make sure that it's supported in the middle. And we're going to add a little bit of string, a little bit of the black twine. This is from the Basic Essential Twine Pack, this black twine. And I like to thread my tags before I glue them down. So it's threaded. Now I'm going to glue down the tag, and then we'll tie the bow on the tag. It just makes it a little bit easier to manage it. It's not flopping around everywhere because it's glued down. Let's go ahead and add this. And I like the black because I think the high contrast is fun, especially since everything is stamped in black ink. It just brings a little bit more of the black in. So we'll just tie this. And then we'll just adjust these tails so that they're they look nice. You can make them whatever size you like. Now go ahead and get my little scissors that I save for string, and twine and ribbon. All right, and there's the card. So here's project number 1. It's got a little shimmer on those pages. These are all filled in. And then you've got the pocket for your gift card. So very, very cute. So here's the first project is a little gift card holder. Now, if you are giving a book, then you might want to include a bookmark. So I've got a little bookmark kit that we're going to put together now for this project. And so what I did was I took the backing from our paper packs. I like to save that, like it's not chipboard, but it is a heavier weight cardboard, but it makes a perfect bookmark because it's not too thick. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some adhesive to this. And I like to use really strong adhesive, and our Seal Plus is super strong. I also like to use liquid. That is another good alternative. And I'm going to add the this neutral pattern. It's basically a piece of designer series paper from that Toadstool Garden set. And I'm going to use the back side for the back of the bookmark. And I'm just going to layer this on. And then I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to add the theme side to the front. So we'll do this. Just like that. And then you'll notice sometimes when you cut that it doesn't always measure, it doesn't always match up perfectly. So I will then bring in my trimmer and I will tidy up anything that hangs over, doesn't match quite right. It's easy enough to kind of clean up the edges on the bookmarks. And when it's a really tight, like a very thin edge, sometimes I start in the middle and then clean it up that way. So it ends up coming out. It starts at 2 inches by 6, but sometimes it ends up a tiny bit smaller after you're done cleaning up the edges and tidying it all up. So then you end up with a really cute little bookmark. And then you can leave it just like this, or if you like the rounded corners, I like to take my We Are Memories corner chomper. Because this is relatively thin, you could probably use any kind of corner rounder, but I like to round the corners on mine just to kind of finish it off. Gives it a little bit more finished look, in my opinion. So I just round the corners like that. And this tool is available still. We Are Memory Keepers makes it, and it's great to have in your paper crafting stash. Along with the hole punch also. This is the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile. And this is great for setting eyelets. That's kind of what it was invented for. So you would punch the holes here with the hole punches, and then this is the eyelet setter for different sizes of eyelets. And I don't do a lot of eyelet setting. I do have some eyelets that I could set in here, but I wanted to keep it more simple, and it's not really a requirement. You can certainly get away with putting a bookmark tassel in and not setting an eyelet. So I'm just going to punch a hole here. I'm just centering this at the top of my bookmark. And I'm basing it off of the direction of the snails. So the snails are up right here. And I'm going to take and put my little tassel through. And you'll get one of these in your kit if you end up making a purchase and getting the free kit. So I'm just going to feed this through. And open the loop and then put the tail in to secure it. And then I have a really cute bookmark that I can give with the book. So if you gave a book with this bookmark and then you gave them this card with the little gift card for coffee inside, that's a great book. That's a great gift. So anyway, just kind of a fun idea. So these are the first 2 projects. And we're going to move on to project number 3, which is really my favorite, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So project number 3 is a little reading journal. I've been wanting to do a reading journal myself for a couple of years now, and I just haven't taken the time to really do it fully. I've started it, but never really finished it. And so now I have one that's ready to go, and I've already started. So we're going to decorate the front cover. This is just a little notebook, one of those little like kind of bullet journal notebooks with the grid paper, little grid dot paper. And I'm going to show you kind of what I did for this one, and then we'll make a cover for a different one. And I'll show you how I did it. So the first page, I already kind of got started for January of 2025. So I do a lot of reading. I am in a reading group, and I also listen to books on tape because I'm in the car a lot. So I think most of you know that I do a lot of vending at some retreats here in North Carolina. And so when I'm in the car driving several hours to get to these retreats, I like to listen to something fun besides the radio. And so often I'll listen to a book on tape. And so I've listened to these 2 already this year. And then we just finished, my book club just finished this book. And this is our next book. So what I did was I went to Amazon.com and I looked up my books, and then I opened up the post for each of these for shopping. And I took the image, I clicked on the image of the book and saved it to my desktop for each of the books. Then I went into my word processing software. So if I have a Mac, so I used Pages, but if you have a Microsoft PC type platform, then you could always use your Microsoft Word, or you could go into Google Docs maybe. But Microsoft Word would be great, because then you can, when you add a text box in either Pages or Microsoft Word, you're able to see what size you are adjusting your image to. You can drop these into the text box and then adjust the size and see what the measurement is. So these measure about approximately 2.5 by 3.5. And I did them a little bit larger because I didn't want to have to add the author and the title here. I figured that's already captured in this. And now this way I can just add when I read the book, the star rating I gave it, the type, like the theme of the book, and then I do a little description so I remember what the story was about. And then for mine also, I put a little square here because I'm going to be crocheting. I like to crochet, and so I'm going to make a granny square for each of the titles. I saw this on Facebook. I thought it was so cool. So I'm going to pick 3 colors off the cover and make some little granny squares, and that way I can check off when I've made the squares. And then hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be able to put together a little Afghan too that represents this little book journal. So you may notice that there's a little set of headphones here on a sticker. And so one of the things I did was I made a little sheet of icon stickers. And I have a Cricut, and I want to start making stickers with it. I just haven't had the time to really figure that out yet. So what I did was I made my icon stickers by creating the sheet of icons, printing them on Avery sticker paper. And then I'm using my 3/4 inch circle punch from EK Success. And I'm just going in and punching out the little icon. So I'm going to need a little book icon. So I'm going to just center this in my punch and punch it out. And then we'll add this sticker to that book because I actually read an actual book. So these icons represent a book, an audio book, and a Kindle, like an e-reader. So I used the little cell phone icon because it made more sense, but and it fit in the circle. So anyway, if you get the kit, I will send you not only the book journal, but also a sheet of these stickers so that you can punch your own little icons if you want to. So now we have our little book icon. So we will put this together in a minute. I want to show you how to do the front cover. So let's do that first. So we've already stamped this and got that prepared. Now we're going to go ahead and make our little cover panel. So we're going to pull in our trimmer. And this white piece measures 4 1/4 by, I think, 6 1/4. Yeah, 6 1/4. So 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and cut these papers to measure 2 by 6. So this is 2, and it's already 6. Yeah. And then I'm going to cut one of these too, to 2 inches. And then I always save the scraps because I love these patterns, and I can use them on other projects. So now we're going to pull in our white piece and we're just going to glue these together. Oops. So go ahead and glue this one here. I'm going to leave a little white border. And then we'll add some adhesive to this one as well. And then I'm just putting this right up against the edge. Just like that. And now you can add this piece to it. So I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this one. This is a fun way to kind of keep track of what you're reading and to be able to make recommendations to friends on books in the future, because you've got a little place where you've got them all listed. So it's just a fun way to kind of capture that information. And even if you don't read yourself, it could be a fun little like gift for a friend who does read. So I'm just going to add this little tag that I created to the front of this journal. Just like this. And I love that little sentiment. This one's for the books, meaning this little book is for the books. And I love that. But that sentiment would work on cards too. If someone was having like a special birthday or they did something super extraordinary that you wanted to thank them for. So there we go. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just kind of trim these up. All right. And then this would get added. This is a kind of a blank journal. This would get added to the front as the little cover for your journal. I'm not going to do it because I want to be able to give this to somebody. But anyway, that's the little book. So let's bring in the one that I've already made and we'll go ahead and we'll do a little, I'll show you how to do a little entry. So I'm going to take a little clip and I'm going to open this up and just clip this so it's a little bit easier to work with. And I'm going to put this to the side because that's the new book. I haven't even started that yet. I should be getting it in the mail today. My library only has one copy and there's like 8 people waiting for it. So, or 11 people. So I needed to read it sooner than that. So I had to buy it. But I like to go to thrift books for that. And then for my audiobooks, I just downloaded the Libby app on my phone. It's L-I-B-B-Y, like library Libby. So it's Libby app. And it allows me to connect my library card with the app so that it connects to my library. And that way I can check and see if books on tape are available at my library and how long the wait is. And then I can get on a list if I want to listen. So it's kind of fun. And it's a great way to research too, to see if the books for my book club are available in hardcover or if I could listen to it or whatever. So it's been kind of a fun thing to have that little Libby app. So I'm just going to kind of rough up the edge of this to try to get the release paper off this little sticker. It's not too hard, you just got to kind of rub the edges. And then I'm going to stick this little book icon right here next to the book, next to the picture. And I'm going to get my pen. I'm going to get my pen and I'm just going to write December 2024 to January 2025. And then I'm going to take the image from the stamp set that says you're a solid 5 stars, and I'm going to do a little bit of masking. So I'm going to bring in my black ink pad and I'm going to bring in a Post-it note. And I'm going to cover the words on the Post-it note so that they don't get inked up when I ink up the stars, because I just want those stars for my book. So I'm going to ink that up. And then I'm going to remove this. And now when I stamp my stars down, I won't get the words, I'll just get the little stars. So that's a little masking technique. And then I'm going to add a little square here for my granny square so I can check that off when I make it. And then I found that when I made these original ones, I used the Berry Burst marker to color in the stars, and I saw that it bled through. So this page is going to eventually be the table of contents. When I fill the book, I'm going to type up a list of books that I've read, so that there's like a table of contents in it. So that'll be covered. But I'm glad I noticed it because I pulled now a lighter marker. This is the Fresh Freesia marker. And I'm going to fill in the stars for this one using this lighter color. And I did a pen test in the very back just to color in one, just to see, because I'll put a book here. It will cover that up. But when I flipped it over, it ghosts a little bit, but there's no bleed through. So I know that this is a better marker choice. So going forward, I'll use this one. So let's talk about books for just a second for anybody who likes to read. So these were all reasonably good books, but I'm only going to give this one 3 stars because there was some sadness in this book. And I think most people read to escape. They don't read to cry. And there's some big tears in this one. So I'm going to give this one a 3 star because I would not recommend this to anyone. I think this has a lot of triggers for people who are sensitive to loss. And so I wouldn't recommend this one. So I'm just going to put 3 stars on there. This one, What You Wish For, is a book. I'll just read what I put because there's no spoilers here. But it's basically a school librarian loses a beloved administrator at the school only to find that a teacher she had a wild crush on at a different school many years ago has been hired to fill the position. But he's changed a lot and not for the better. So that's an interesting book, especially if you're a teacher, although there is an incident in this book where there could be a trigger too. Because I can't tell you why, because it will just spoil the book. But anyway, good book. I gave it 3 stars. Again, because there's some triggers in this, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone, but only certain people. And I thought it was a good book, but I'm finding that with audiobooks, I miss a little bit because sometimes I space out. Even when I'm listening to the book, I'll space out a little bit. So I struggle a little bit with audiobooks, but they are kind of fun. So the last one, this book by Will Dean, was great. It was the first book I'd ever read or listened to by Will Dean, and I thought it was a very intriguing story. So this is about a couple who board a cruise ship, and they're enjoying their cruise the first night. But then when they wake up in the morning, the woman wakes up and she can't find her partner, and she realizes that everyone on the ship has disappeared. And it's an interesting story with a really fun twist at the end that actually made me gasp. So this is a good one. I would recommend this one to anyone. It's really interesting and fun. So anyway, let's go ahead, and then what I would do is probably pull, let me see here what I have. I don't know if I have my ruler, but you can just use like a little straight edge. I'll use the edges of this, and I'm going to say that this is a kind of a drama. Well, it's not really a romantic comedy, but it is definitely a drama kind of slice of life story. So I'm just going to put drama slice of life as the description. Then I'm going to add a couple of lines just to separate. Like that. And then here I'll eventually write what the book is about, but it's basically about a young woman who suffers a series of tragedies in her life, but manages to still see the bright side. Yeah, that's what I'll say about that one. So that's kind of that. So this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to add Swan Song in next because we are going to read that. So I'm just going to put this one in. 2. And I won't really do anything with this one because I haven't finished reading it. I haven't even started reading it yet. So I'll just put that in there though to wait. And this will also be a book icon. And I think I will do that part just so that I can write in when I started the book so I don't forget. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my punch here and punch another one of these little stickers. So if you have a 1/2 inch punch, that would work too. I'm using a 3/4 inch for these, but a 1/2 inch would also work. Here it comes. I'll put another little book right here, like that, and then I'm going to put January 2025 to probably March, or maybe February. I'll just erase that and leave that open-ended. Our book club meeting, I think, is at the end of February, so it'll probably have to be finished by then. So anyway, that's that. So this is the little book journal, so cute, and so I'm going to keep this, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have a whole bunch of books read that I can look back on, and I'll also be able to start that little Afghan, put those little granny squares together for the Afghan. So let me bring the projects back in and show you them again. So you've got the card and the bookmark, and then this beautiful little reading journal. And I think I'm actually going to use the bookmark. I think I'll use this little snail one. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to use this to keep my place in my actual book journal, because this is going to fill up, and it'd be an easy way to find my spot in there. And all the papers coordinate, which I love. So I'm just going to bring in the Sale-a-Bration flyer one more time, and here's the code. And this is also listed in the description of the video, along with a link to where you can find the Sale-a-Bration brochure and look through that. And I hope you enjoyed the free projects for today. They were really fun for me because I love to read, and I thought this would be a fun little exercise. And I hope you enjoyed it too. So take care and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.